My nightmare conference. So back in the early years, 1987 to be precise, I was giving a talk on research and interpretation at a Forest Service training workshop. And I came in the morning to see what was going on. My talk wasn't until just after lunch. And we sat down at these long tables, so we were right across from each other. And that probably should have been my first clue. But the first thing they had us do was hold hands and lean back to show trust. And then we wrote poems about interpretation. And then we constructed interpretive items out of paper. And the thing I didn't mention is in 1987, they'd closed a lot of the logging and forests, and so you had a lot of veteran foresters who were out of work. And this guy looked something like the guy who was sitting across from me. Just the kind of guy I wanted to hold hands with and lean back and write poems with, etc. So, needless to say, I'm dying in here. So finally the guy says, "Time for a break." And I'm going, oh, thank heavens. But he wasn't finished with us yet. He said, "I want everybody to stand up and open out like a flower." Ah! That was the last straw. I got out of there. I did not come back until I gave my talk, and I left right after my talk. The reason? This wasn't my preferred learning style. Do you go to participatory sessions? You know, the ones at conferences where they say participatory? A lot of people do. A lot of people who go into teaching do because they like interacting with things like that. I avoid them like the plague. My point is learning styles are a factor in benefit to cost analysis. And I didn't want to concentrate on learning styles. I simply wanted to reintroduce that we are talking about benefit to cost theory. And specifically, we're focusing on the first key to communicating. For communication to occur, the audience must be willing to attend to and process the information. Benefit to cost theory. People allocate time and cognitive resources based on the perception of the ratio of personal benefit to personal cost. Initial perception is the attraction power. The perception of what the continuation is going to be after you've gotten started is you've got actual benefit to cost playing into that. But it's still all about perception of what's coming up. So we talked about a couple of key things to do. One was to design for a specific audience because different people consider different things cost, different things benefit. Design for the appearance of high benefit and low cost. Again, good benefit to cost ratio, that's your attraction power. Design for actual high benefit and low cost. Because people will assume once they've started that that's the way it's going to be all the way through. So in fact, if once they start it's not very good, they're going to think the rest of the thing isn't very good either, and they're going to quit. So this is where your holding power comes in. So today we want to continue with the application of benefit to cost theory by looking at just-in-time information theory, message utility hypothesis, social judgment theory, and cognitive dissonance theory. Whew. That really sounds like a lot. Yeah, but they all tie to benefit to cost theory in different ways. So link them together in your thinking because benefit to cost is the key. You still need to know these others, but they all link here. So let's talk about the message utility hypothesis. In an environment with a lot of stimuli, we will pay attention to that which is most useful. This is put out by Pratt Canis and Greenwald. If you actually want the citation or the information on where to read about it, let me know. But this is essentially what it is. Why? Why do we pay attention to that which is most useful? Well, the answer should be obvious. It usually has the highest benefit to cost ratio. If I'm driving down a place like that and I need a place to stay, I'm looking for motel signs. If I need a place to eat, I'm looking for restaurant signs. Whatever I need at that point, whatever I'm looking for, information that indicates that that is where it is, that's what I'm going to pay attention to. Just-in-time information theory is actually a different way of kind of stating the whole same thing. Information available at the time and place it is most useful is more likely to be used. Now, this is not exact wording of just-in-time information theory. This is the way I interpret it. But it's basically saying offer information just in time. And people are likely to use it. And just in time means just in time to be used. It could be called at the right time information theory. Let's look at some examples. Okay, you're driving along and it says next exit, gas, food, lodging. Well, when I'm approaching an exit, that's exactly what I want to know. This sign isn't particularly useful to me 5 miles before this point, certainly not 10 miles before this point. This is information just in time, and it's at the right time. Because I'm not going to hold it in my brain until I'm ready to use it. I need to have it right when I need it. No services next 203 kilometers. Strange thing about this sign was it was actually after you had passed the services. But this is the kind of information you want right at the point where there are no services, right where you have the last services. Restroom. I walk into a visitor center and the first thing I'm going is, where's the restroom? Well, that's the information I want. Provide it right there. So this is just at the right time information. Cell phones and just-in-time information. Somebody did a research study, and they found that in a 30-day period, this is fairly recently, nearly 9 out of 10 smartphone users had used the phone during that period for just-in-time information. I need to know how to get to here. I need the answer to this question. I need this address right now. I need this phone number right now. It's just-in-time information, and that's when it's most useful. So that's when we use it. Application. People do it all the time. And hyperlinks, they'll put hyperlinks into text, GPS directions, step-by-step instructions. They use it in contracting. Actually, one of the things I'm seeing in contracting is that they have you give basic data and then they say, don't send anything else until we ask for it, because they're going to make the decision in the first cut based on that information. And if they want more detail, they'll ask specific people so they don't have to go through as much information. Just-in-time information theory. What underlies just-in-time information theory? Benefit to cost theory. You offer information at the time and place it is most useful. That's what you need to do because it's more likely to be used. That's the place it has the highest benefit. This is particularly true if you think about wayfinding systems. Wayfinding systems, when I'm trying to find my way somewhere, the question comes up of direction to go when I hit a decision point, like an intersection. Okay, do I keep going straight ahead or turn right and left? At that point, I need the answer to that question. And on it goes. Good wayfinding systems are based on just-in-time information. So how do we figure out what information is most useful? Because if we can't figure it out, well, we give them everything, just like is on this particular sign. Now, I actually watched this couple do this because I took this picture some years ago. They spent about 15 seconds at this. The guy is looking at the map to try to figure out where they should go next. The woman is reading about the first paragraph because that's all she had time for. And then they left. They didn't even look at the photographs because they're trying to get to the actual experience. And they don't need all this information to get there. They just need to know where to go. So if you think about problem solving, if somebody is solving a problem that requires a number of steps, the information to solve the immediate step is the most useful. So when you're following instructions, so what's next, what's next? That's how they organize information, in terms of instructions. Think about a visitor experience. Somebody used to describe a visitor experience just as a series of problems to be solved. So you're at your home, you haven't decided where to go. Where should I go? Well, you need marketing information because you need information that helps you make that decision. Okay, you decide where you're going to go. Now what information do you need? Well, information that kind of helps me solve the problem of where am I going to stay, how much time do I allot, etc., etc. It's, planning, pre-trip planning information. Then you travel. I need wayfinding information. Then I arrive. I need site-specific orientation information so I can find my way around this strange environment. And then I have the actual experience. And this is, by the way, where interpretive information, the stuff that is optional. Wayfinding and all that stuff is a need, and it comes before interpretation. So I finish that, and I'm traveling back. I need wayfinding information, and then I'm post-trip. So if you look at the problems that have to be solved, you can figure out what information to put where. Summary. If people are more likely to pay attention to information that is most useful at a time and place, that's essentially the message utility hypothesis, then information offered at the time and place it is most useful is more likely to be used. That's just-in-time information theory.